Welcome to Dom's Sketchcast. I am Dom. I am in your ears right now, traveling through your brain, riding some sort of strange vehicle made out of audio waves and video waves. Last night was the Kamala Pence vice presidential United States debate in the United States of America, which is where I live. And I imagine it is where some of you live. If you're not from the U.S., I would like to hear your opinion on some of the stuff I'm going to talk about, or your perspective on some of it. We don't get access to a lot of world news out here. Actually, we do have a lot of access to it. I think people just choose not to pay attention to it, not to pay a lot of attention to it. And I ain't going to lie, I'm one of those people, meaning that most days I am frantically hunting around CNN, HuffPost, and whatever other news station, news website to see what new craziness has happened in this country. I know a lot of craziness is happening in other countries too, which maybe it's some kind of strange consolation to me to be like, oh yeah, it is really fucked up in other places as well. You know, we're all experiencing pandemic frustrations. Last night, I watched the debate. Like many of you all, I was on the social media simultaneously while I was doing it. And like I mentioned in that video where I was talking about the Trump-Biden debate, I'm experiencing the brain being part of the giant connected brain of neurons that we all are, donating freely information and ideas, as I am doing right now, to the giant hive mind internet brain, and you are consuming it. That was happening. And I'm not going to talk about the fly. I will not. I will not mention the fly that was on Mike Pence's head, crawling around, sipping wine coolers, sipping a pina colada, grooming itself. I will not talk about this fly because I think it's sort of low-hanging fruit. It's a low-hanging fruit fly. It's too easy for me to talk about it. But there's no way for that fly to know how popular he or she is. There's no way for this fly to know that everyone is talking about it on the internet. At least on the left-leaning circles, the liberal circles on the internet, art is being made about this fly. Jokes are being made about this fly. Jokes are flying about this fly. How could it possibly know? Is the fly alive now? Is the fly being put up in the Library of Congress, up in glass? Did they pin it down like phlebotomists do? I think entomologists are the ones who handle insects. I don't think that's phlebotomy. I think phlebotomy is for pennies, people who collect pennies. But it sounds like a phlebotomist sounds like someone who would examine flies. The debate, Kamala Harris versus Mike Pence. I was covering it for the United Negro Necromancer Association of North America. I was there. I was physically there. I was drawing. This drawing was done in Procreate on iPad Pro. I used the syrup brush. I used a low opacity flat brush as well if you're using Procreate. Those are two really nice brushes to use. My main recap, what I mainly have to say about this, is that Kamala Harris maintained her high MP and a medium level of HP that she already had. She managed. Pence has a moderate HP, very low MP. The fly, the aforementioned fly, took the rest of it. He left that stage with very little MP and a little less HP than he had on that stage. They were both sitting there behind plexiglass, and a part of me was wondering whether or not this was something they should have done from the beginning with the first debate, but that makes our leaders look less powerful when they're standing up on 2 feet. There's something about seeing politicians standing up that we really like. It's a very powerful position when they're standing there. Sitting down, less powerful. But I would imagine that many of the major decisions made by world leaders in this universe was made by people sitting down. It would have been very interesting if they'd been laying down on their backs, looking up at the ceiling, being talked to by the moderator. The moderator, by the way, did a much better job than Chris Wallace did. She was a lot more firm, but to be fair, Kamala and Pence did a great job of respecting each other's time. Even though they would go over every once in a while, it was way more civil. That was better. It felt nicer in my soul. I felt like I was watching much more civil-minded people. Was it more boring than the last debate? Yeah, but we don't want exciting debates. Debates shouldn't be exciting, but that's here where we are now. Pence held it together as more of a sane human being as opposed to Trump. But again, boring, not entertaining in the least. And yes, once again, I know it's a sad thing that I have to say, but it's true. Anything on our screens now has to be visually or audibly interesting now. From education to politics to anything else. Our news seems to need to be entertaining. We like to have jokes along with our news, bad news as well, good news. We like to be entertained. Everything is existing in this primordial soup of digital screen world. I don't think that there are any undecided voters. I don't believe that they exist. I think everyone knows who they're going to vote for or whether or not they're going to vote. I think some people can be swayed to vote, but I think people know who they're going to vote for if they vote. That being said, I think it's a game of getting people energized to do any sort of action, to take any sort of action. And yes, I'm being one of those annoying people right now who's telling you young folks listening to please go out and vote, especially if you're black and look or sound like me or come from anywhere that's similar to me, background similar to me. Please just do it if you haven't decided already. It's a really bad look if you haven't decided on doing it. I myself have my paper ballot right here. Do some ASMR for you folks. And this is going to be going into a mailbox probably early next week. And yes, I will vlog it because everything has to be entertaining now. We're all cheering for the teams that we want anyway. I think everyone knows what side they're on. When I was in that hive mind brain watching last night, I was cheering when everyone else was cheering. I was laughing when everyone else was laughing. I was like, you get that motherfucker, when everyone else was saying it. I was there. I was doing the same thing. Again, very little conservative viewpoint in my feed. I don't think I saw any. And that is curated, but it also is concerning to me in a sense because I'm like, what is happening on the other side of the brain? The other side of that hive mind brain. You always have to wonder because it exists. I can't ignore that it exists. And I don't want to go over and see, but I'm curious about what's over there. So yes, I will be voting next week. And I will be vlogging it. I may draw on my ballot and put some kind of sigil or a spell on there with the hope that it's not going to get thrown into an incinerator. And perhaps I'll just watch with binoculars from afar to make sure that there's no fuckery going on with my very precious ballot. I'm going to make sure that they put the ballot where it needs to be going. I would love to hear your thoughts on the debate in the comments below. No matter what your thoughts are, I will respect you as long as you are respectful to me. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know what you're thinking. Specifically, I would like to know if any of you also drew or wrote or created, made any sculptures or anything surrounding the debate. And I want to thank you all for being here once more. Live draw is happening tonight, Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They've been very fun, and I hope to see you there. Those happen on YouTube Live, and those also happen on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/DSC show. If you have any questions for me, you can throw them down below as well. Don't forget, hop onto domrabburn.com/shop if you also want to support me on there. Patrons got to see this last night, Thursday. If you're on patreon.com/domrabburn, you get to see this stuff early. Pretty cool, right? Thank you for being here. Stay creative out there, wherever you are. Keep at it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Peace.